guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna be sharing it's not a story, it's almost like a story, but sharing my experience with postpartum anxiety with you. I've been wanting to share that journey with you guys, but I haven't really found the time or the words. But I just thought, let me just switch on the camera and let you know what's in my mind or heart. So when I first had my son, okay, let me just start off like with how I noticed that I had a problem. Like when I was pregnant, I was really excited, looking forward to having my son, and I had all these expectations of what things were supposed to be or were going to be like after having my son. Everything that I expected everything to go very smoothly and easily, and I had paused my school because I was getting married, so I thought, let me just take a year off and I'll come back and complete my degree and stuff. So I was really like, okay, now I'm gonna have my son, everything's gonna be great, I'm gonna have a nanny, she's gonna be helping me with the baby so that I can be back at school, yada yada yada. Like everything in my head like was perfect, everything was supposed to run smoothly and stuff. And then once I had my son, I feel like everything sort of like, I was happy about like my baby and everything. Like I was really happy that I was married, I love my husband, love my son, but for some reason I would just wake up feeling really down. Like I would wake up and I wouldn't have the energy, I didn't have the time to bath, and I feel like that made it worse. I just never felt like I wanted to do anything like outside of like being in the house. And when Aiden was really small, like I just never wanted anyone touching him or anything. Like from the moment we left the hospital, I just didn't want anybody else to touch him. And the worst thing is that I had my grandmom living with us at the time. She was helping me with the baby, and she's from a very social time where she would call like almost all of my relatives to come and see the baby and everything. And I think I just wasn't ready, because there was just almost every day there was somebody visiting us, somebody wanting to touch the baby, and I was really freaking out about like sicknesses, etc. and stuff, and it was just crazy. But when I think about it now, I do understand where or what caused my anxiety. At some point in time, it was so bad I didn't even want my husband to have the baby for a long time. It was that bad, where it started to feel, even to him, I always think he's gonna do something wrong or whatever. But I think to a certain extent it was a bit natural, because when you're a mom and you spend, let's say, the whole day with your baby, you tend to, because you've learned how to soothe them, you've learned what they like, what they don't like. When somebody else is holding him, you don't want them to do it wrong, because you don't want your child to be uncomfortable or to be crying. So I think for me, I was really not opening my eyes to the fact that my husband also had to learn how to soothe Aiden himself, in his own way. They should have their own special bond. So I think for me to realize that I was having a problem, it was getting really bad, where I didn't want anyone helping me with Aiden, but at the same time there's so much that I wanted to do. So it just became such a situation, you know, I'd find myself in the darkest places, like breaking down and crying about how I don't think and I think also the hormones contribute, because I was so deep in my feelings, thinking I'm never gonna be able to do anything that I used to be able to do, or that, you know what, I can't. And funny enough, for some reason my brain decided to blame my husband. Like, I think it was just seeing him wake up in the morning and like get bath and get dressed, like looking all clean, you know, and he's gonna go to work, and you know what, he's gonna come back in the evening. I've been with the baby, I'm cooking. And the thing is, I didn't want anybody's help. Like, my husband would come home and cook and everything, but I think my overprotectiveness really spilled over onto even my partner, because I didn't want our cleaning lady to cook or anything, because I was so adamant about how I didn't want him eating anybody else's food. It was so exhausting, so I had to like always be with the baby. Like, even when I bath, I would like literally we have a shower next to the bathtub, so I would put Aiden in the bathtub, like on some pillows, and then shower while I'm like looking at him. And then from there I'd go and put him on the carrier, cook and stuff. It was really hard because I wanted to do more. I wanted to do more of the things that made me happy, and I just couldn't find that time. It was so hard to find that time. And then when somebody tries to take my son, I just get all don't touch him. Yeah, so at that point I realized, no, I have a problem. I need to figure out what's going on with me. So I did some research and stuff, and I was just trying to see like, why like this, you know, why am I not, because you see other moms and stuff on social media being so freed, you know, makeup done, everything, things that I like, you know. And all of a sudden I was just like, how are they doing it, and why do I feel this way? Like, I couldn't. So I did some research and stuff. I read a couple of articles, and then it stumbled on me that I was dealing with some anxiety, and I had to first figure out what was causing my anxiety. And for me, I think it was pretty simple, because I didn't have a very easy birth. I had a very easy pregnancy, and I think I had very high expectations for the birth. I really wanted to have a natural birth, and I really wanted everything to go smooth. I'd actually planned on an unmedicated birth, and I really wanted to experience that, you know. I thought I've had such a good pregnancy. I hadn't had like nothing, no sickness, no anything. And then at the last minute, my baby's heartbeat was dropping, you know. I think I was so terrified in that moment that I thought I had done like everything in my power to keep my baby safe, and just like that, in 1 second I almost lost him, you know. I had my baby, I was 40 weeks, I was overdue, and my gynecologist had suggested that I induce so that Aiden can come out. And I would blame myself, like during the time from like post-birth and, you know, coming home and stuff. I remember like thinking, you know, maybe I should have waited, because I felt like I'm the one who consented to being induced, and I didn't do enough research. Because later on I did find out that first-time moms who induce have a higher likelihood of giving birth via C-section, and those are the things that I should have been reading up on, you know. Those are the things I should have like tried to find out, but instead I decided to take my baby out, and he almost died, you know. And I felt like such a reckless mother, like in that moment. Like, why couldn't you just wait? Even if he took 45 weeks, why couldn't you just wait for him to decide to come out? So I think that was one of the major like causes of my anxiety. Another thing that really contributed to my anxiety, I think, was the difference in comparison, like the life that I lived before and the life that I was living then. You know, before having Aiden, I was such an active person. I was out there, I was building my business, I was, you know, going to get it. You know, I was a really driven, like, young woman, you know. And then I found myself in this place where I was always with my son, you know, and he was a bit difficult and stuff in the beginning. So I was just always tired, no sleep, no time to do anything, you know. And that difference in personality, like, I had lost all sense of identity. Like, who am I? I would look at myself in the mirror, the things I used to like about myself, you know, that, you know, I'm looking all fresh, my body's looking good, things like that, they were no longer there when I looked in the mirror, you know. And it was devastating, you know. It was really like sad, because I just felt like I was never going to come out of that space. And yeah, so once I started realizing that I had a problem, I spoke to my husband about it and told him that, yeah, I think I'm going through something. I showed him the articles that I'd been reading, and yeah, we just sat down, we started talking about how better to help me and stuff, and how to free myself, you know. And the first thing that I had to begin doing was appreciating myself. That was the first step that I took towards breaking out of what I was feeling. I had to say to myself, you know what, you are enough, you are beautiful, you are a good mom. You know, I had to look at myself in the mirror and say, you would die for Aiden, you would do anything for this little boy, and you are enough, you are more than enough, you know, you are beautiful. And then I had to appreciate even the body that I was in. I had to look at myself and say, we got him out safely, whether it was by C-section or what, he's here, you know. Now I had to get in touch with me. I had to start looking at myself in the mirror, you know, twerking a bit. I had to get down, twerk a bit, look at myself, be like, yeah, you still got it. I know it's weird, but it really helped me a lot. You know, and then from there we started visiting more relatives more often, and while visiting I would let them take Aiden and stuff, and, you know, trying to remain calm, you know. A lot of the time I had to like take some wine to calm the fuck down, because my anxiety levels were just way up here. So I would just have a couple of sips of wine, and then either when someone's visiting us or we're visiting, I'd let them take him and, you know, just relax. And slowly I was starting to feel much better, you know. And then another thing that really helped me for some crazy reason, Aiden like would fall a lot, not a lot, but he would fall. Like, let's say he would do the craziest things. You're in his room, he's just on the floor, you've let him like have some tummy time, when he just started like rolling and sitting up, and he would just do crazy stuff. He would roll over and maybe like hit his head on the side of something. And I remember, like, after I realized that he's gonna be okay, like he's not gonna die when such things happen, it, for some reason, it really helped me, because I could start seeing him more as a tougher thing than what was in my head. You know, I had to lose the thought of, oh, he's so fragile that if I left him with somebody and let's say he fell, he's not gonna die, you know. I had to like get my head into it, that one little scratch is not gonna kill him. And so that for me really helped me a lot. So yeah. Okay, so 6 months down the line, then we decided to then get a nanny. We were supposed to get a nanny like way in the beginning, but there was definitely no way I was gonna let anyone close to Aiden. So once we did, at the 6-month mark, we had to now start like where I would just leave them in. I spent, well, the first 2 weeks or something, every day I was with them, and then from there slowly I would like go for a walk, go for a jog, whatever, and come back. And once I realized that, you know what, he actually can be happy like with somebody else. We were very fortunate to find someone that really loves kids and knows how to play with them and stuff, so that we were really fortunate on that end. They get along very well. So once we saw that they actually had that connection, that's when I started now planning to do other things, like signing up for gym, knowing that I can actually be gone for an hour or two, and when I come back my son's gonna be fine. And I started taking on more clients so I can actually go and see them, come back, and I won't feel like there's anything wrong. The thing is, I feel like I am a very picky person, and not picky, but I worry too much about my son. I've always had a idea of how I want him to be like, just like any other parent. But I am also a very strong believer in imparting a spirit onto a child. I really believe that when you have a baby, during their formative years, like the first 5 years, that is the most important time of their lives. Like what you teach them then will stick with them for the rest of their lives, you know. And I was very sad at the fact that I couldn't be around him the way that I wanted to, because I have to go back to school and I have to work, and yeah. And for me, it really devastated me, because I really wanted to be the one that teaches him how to be a person. You know, you never know what somebody else was taught and how they believe, their belief systems, and having them around your child will inevitably cause your child to learn from that, you know. And that for me was really hard to like accept. But then I decided, once we got a nanny, that no, then maybe I could just suggest things that, you know, I would do, that I would want her to replicate with Aiden, and that has made things easier. Like, he does have a schedule, he does have recommended books that he is read to, certain games that he plays, etc. She does follow the schedule, how I cook the food, everything. But even just how I would talk to him, you know, I have this thing where when Aiden started standing, he's been falling a lot because now he's learning how to stand and walk. So every time he would fall, and it would be like a semi-painful fall, I would pick him up and I would chant to him, today we fall, tomorrow we walk. And I would always say to him, today we fall, tomorrow we walk. Today we fall, tomorrow we walk. And for me, that was very important for me to teach him that, because he's gonna need that a lot in his life. He's gonna need to know that sometimes you fall, but if you fall, you walk. It's a learning process. Falling is part of learning how to walk, you know. And I would tell her, this is what you say to him when he falls, this is what you say to him when this happens, this is how you do this. And at first I had to give her a disclaimer that, you know, I'm crazy, so you're gonna have to deal with a little bit of crazy. But she was okay with it. Okay guys, so it did take me a while to move past it, and it can be hard, but you know, one thing that really helps is a good support system. you know, especially because this topic is not a very popular topic in like black culture. Just find somebody who would try to understand, like your partner, if you're lucky, your parents. But it's really hard, as especially black parents, to actually be like, listen, I'm going through anxiety or I'm going through depression. Because I know, like, my dad was very like adamant, like, oh no, hurry up, you have to go back to school, whatever. And I just didn't know how to tell him, you know, like, I'm having issues right now. And the thing is, we live in a world, or our culture in like Botswana, we don't talk about these things enough. You know, we don't talk about anxiety, about depression, and it's real things that people go through. You know, I know, especially as a young mom, a lot of people will look down on you and they will say bad things about you, whether it's older people or your peers, etc. They will have negative comments towards you. And the thing that people don't realize is that how your pregnancy goes really plays a big part on your postpartum period. If everybody's making you feel like, ugh, you shouldn't be pregnant, you know, you such a burden, your disappointment, if that's all you're hearing, that is all you'll see after you have your baby. Like, if you know anyone who is pregnant or anything, who's pregnant and they're young, please, you don't know what they're going through, like, at all. You don't know what their situation is like. And you know, a lot of young women also have to deal with their baby daddies also like not wanting to be part of the picture. And I just tried to imagine, like, I had literally everything that I thought I wanted, but just one thing, like the birth of my son and my struggle with identity, those two things really put me in the worst mental state ever. So I can just imagine when you've got other things to deal with, like a deadbeat baby daddy, and you know, your parents are not being supportive. Like, come on guys, let's just try and, at least if you don't have anything nice to say, then don't say anything. But if you can, just let them know they're doing good, let them know they're a good mom, let them know, just say something nice, it won't hurt you, you know. Because a lot of these comments really make people feel like they don't have a future, they don't like. And I feel like that's the complete opposite. Ever since having my son, I've felt so empowered, like inside, even though I was feeling so crappy. But the one thing I was sure of deep down was that if I can make this little thing, then I must be something great, you know. And I honestly feel like that should then transcend to your daily activities, your life. That's how you should feel about life, that you know you are full of greatness. So if there's any young moms watching this video today, I just want to say to you guys that you're doing great. You're gonna be, if you're pregnant, you're gonna be a great mom. You're gonna be super at everything that you want to do. There is a lot of time in this life to do everything that you want to do, and that's one thing that we tend to forget the most, that right now you're still 20, in your 20s, you know, you still have 30, 40, 50, 60, you know, and you don't want to now make a year of, you know, carrying a human being, or 2 years, 3 years of taking care of your child seem like that's going to condemn the rest of your life. You know, we need to encourage a better thinking. You know, a lot of things that are pushed out there, or the message that is mostly pushed out there, is that there's no way forward after you fall pregnant and you have a baby. Yet there is. You know, you don't have to always use somebody else's clock to live your life, because if you do use somebody else's clock and time, you will always feel like you are running out of time. Just pause, take your time. If you're like me, like I have promised myself that my next baby, I should be in a space where I can not be engaged like a lot, where engaged a lot, so that I can raise my baby until maybe they're about 4 years, you know. And for me, that would make me really happy, because I would want to raise them, you know. We live in a culture where having a nanny, having help, strangers around your children is so normal. It's so normal now, like everybody does it, and you know, it seems like the right thing to do, but in my opinion, it's not the best thing for your or for my child. You know, everybody has their own choices and everything, but I just wanted to bring that message to any young moms that are watching this, or about to be moms, that it doesn't matter what you're going through. Like, if you have any drama going on in your life, if you have a lot of negativity coming into your life, if you have a lot of questions and uncertainty, just really try your best. It's gonna be hard because there's so many hormones and everything, but try your best to be your best. You know, look at just use a lot of affirmations, you know, tell yourself, you know, and also give yourself time is very important. Give yourself time to recover, give yourself time to reestablish yourself, time to love yourself, and time to love the people around you. That is so important, and that I feel was the biggest thing that I had to learn how to do, or to accept, you know, that I have time. I hope this video helps whoever needs it. I hope it is very helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave any questions if you have any, and I will answer them. But apart from that, I guess I will see you in my next video. Come, brush mommy's face. Look, brush mommy's face. Okay. It's not for eating. Hey, Mr. Zoo. Love you. Love you. Love you.